there's not really much you could say after this game. The Houston Texans are exactly who they were, a bad football team with a poorly ran coaching staff, a poorly ran offense. The only bright spot of this team is the defense for the Houston Texans, but even then, them they self still have some issues. The Houston Texans, they're now 1-6. They lose 31-5 to the Arizona Cardinals. The J.J. Watt, DeAndre Hopkins revenge game. DeAndre Hopkins was the only one who did anything. 2 touchdowns on the day. I'm sorry, 1 touchdown on the day, just 53 yards. And J.J. Watt, just besides his tackle for loss. That's just about it. Nothing much from those two. But it was a painful game to watch because you thought, well, if we're going to see anything from Davis Mills, this is the game to do it. A game that we would love to just go and beat an undefeated team, and he just looked absolutely average. I'm not saying like he even did that bad. It was just absolutely boring. Nothing about Davis Mills has shown that he should be the starter for the Houston Texans. Ever since that game against the New England Patriots, it looks like he has digressed. He's not trusting his arm. He's not, putting his arm to the test. None of these wide receivers had over 30 yards. Nico Collins, 5 targets, 2 catches. Brandon Cooks had a pretty quiet day. This offense can't get it going. I do blame Tim Kelly for a huge part of it. Why we continue to implore people from the Bill O'Brien era. He's just going to be the next to go. This offense hasn't done anything at all this season. We heard that, that Pep Hamilton might want to be called in plays for Davis Mills. That is something that I would love to take a look at if that could be with Pep Hamilton. Davis Mills was only sacked twice. So as far as that, the offensive line didn't have a good day. Definitely didn't have a bad day. They couldn't get the running game going right. None of these running backs have proved their worth. We signed these guys thinking that, hey, they're going to be the veterans. They're going to be the leaders of this team. I expected 1,000 yards from Phillip Lindsay. I expected 500 yards from Mike Ingram. And I didn't really expect anything from David Johnson. But from Mark Ingram and Phillip Lindsay to combine for 18 yards, that's a huge issue. Let's just face it what it is. We're just a bad football team. I don't think Davis Mills is it anymore, after that one great game, good game against the Patriots. Nothing besides that says that he could be it for us. David Culley himself, he's had a rough go at it. It's kind of hard to judge what this type of team, what this type of roster, because we do know that, hey, if Deshaun Watson is on this team, maybe the record is a little bit better. The only bright spot of this team really is Jonathan Grenard, who had another 2-sack game, 2 tackles for loss, 1 pass defense. Jonathan Grenard is looking like a stud for the Houston Texans. I cannot wait for it to be him and Kayvon next year on that defensive line. What do you do if you're the Houston Texans now? Because a lot of these veterans I think you should release and I think you should trade. We still didn't see anything of Scottie Phillips. We do know that Mark Ingram is on the trade block. Maybe you release Phillip Lindsay. There's no use for Rex Burkhead. And what about the wide receivers? Brandon Cooks is someone I think is going to get a lot of interest near the trade deadline November 2nd. Is it the Kansas City Chiefs? Do they need another offensive weapon? Maybe it might be the Raiders who want a deep threat wide receiver. Brandon Cooks is going to garner a lot of attention in the next couple weeks. What can you get for him? Not only that, Lonnie Johnson, as shitty as he plays, he had another interception today. Someone is going to want to get him. Someone's going to want to grab him. And then what about Justin Reed as well? Zach Cunningham as well. All these old Houston Texans who are either due for a payday and have a big contract, what do you do with them? If you're Nick Caserio, you're probably thinking just get rid of him, drain everything. A lot of decisions have to be made for the next couple of weeks. We heard that Tyrod Taylor would start practicing next week, but at this point, there is no reason for him to do that. You're now fighting for the number 1 spot. I think the Miami Dolphins won today. One of the teams that, it was the Giants that won today. One of the teams that the Houston Texans were competing with for the number 1 pick. They are not only competing with the Jets, the Dolphins, and the Lions for that number 1 spot, a spot that could change this franchise. And not only that, the draft picks that we get from Mr. Deshaun Watson himself. Like I said, there's really not a lot to talk about this game. The Houston Texans just got their ass handed to them. And it's not because, it's just simply because we're not a good team. And we have to go this whole thing again next week when we play the Rams, when we play Matthew Stafford is playing like an MVP type quarterback. So, yes, this is going to be a hard season, but it's going to be a season that's going to determine where their future leads. So let me know what you guys think about this horrible game for the Houston Texans. As always, go Texans. Y'all have a blessed day.